Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, we're doing part 5 of the story, titled, Husband Tricks Wife into Writing Confession About Affair with Coworker, then Throws Her Out in Tears. And guys, at this point, given this is part 5, I'm not going to do a big recap anymore, because if you're watching this, you obviously know what's going on in this crazy tale. So I'm just going to jump right into the update here. And if you happen to stumble upon this and don't know what the heck I'm talking about, go back and watch parts 1 through 4. You will most certainly be entertained, and you can come back and join us over here for part 5. And I can assure you that part 5 is going to be full of interesting developments. So he says here, hello SSM. I'd like to thank you again for reading my story and the update that I sent. The support and guidance from you and your followers have been invaluable. That's why we're here, bro. To start, I'd like to reintroduce the people I talked about in previous posts. I'm divorcing my wife, Linda. Jim is divorcing his wife, Carol. Beth is divorcing her husband, Fred. And one of my wife's lovers. Angie is my friend and divorce attorney and is married to Greg, my friend and business partner. And Angie's the one that recommended him to me. How about that? Angie, Greg, Jim, Beth, and I are all subscribed to your channels. Well, a shout out to all you folks. I did not name Linda and Carol's other BFFs in previous posts because there was no evidence that she was unfaithful to her husband. Now there is. Well, there's a big effing surprise. Birds of a feather flock together. Since we're going to talk about them in this update, their names are Jessica and Nico. I've never known a chick named Jessica that wasn't a wacko in some sort. Not one. We left out with Jim coming to my house to look at the evidence I had on his wife, Carol's infidelity. Yeah, that's right. Jim was the douchebag. He gave you a hard time. Carol came with him. He looked at pictures of Carol and Linda naked at the pool party, out on dates. He also read the Instagram DMs among Carol, Linda, and their other friend Jessica, describing Linda and Carol's serial cheating over years. These DMs were on a second hidden user account on Linda's laptop. Jim left my house and told Carol not to return home, so now the update. The next morning, I called Angie to ask when it would be convenient for me to drop off the laptop with all Linda's incriminating Instagram DMs with her girlfriends. Angie was on the phone, so her assistant suggested coming around 10:30 in the morning. Angie would be between appointments. When I got to Angie's, she was on the phone, but she waved me into her office and pointed to a chair. She got off and told me that she heard from Beth's attorney. Oh, how interesting. This should be good. They want copies of the confession my wife Linda wrote for me and her affair with Fred, Linda's DMs with Fred and from Linda's iPad, and the pictures of Linda on dates with Fred. Angie is getting their package ready, but she hasn't seen any pictures. She said she also got a call from Jim, who says he's a friend of mine. I nodded. He said he saw the pictures of his wife Carol naked at a party and on dates with other men. Jim also said he read Instagram DMs between his wife and Linda describing his wife's infidelity going back years. He wants Angie to handle his divorce. I gotta tell you guys, I've always been a born businessman. But let me tell you, if I could go back in time, I'd either be a private investigator or I'd be a divorce attorney with my own firm, because God Almighty, you'll clean up with all the crap going on nowadays. Angie said I told her about the laptop but not any details about what's on it. She asked me if Jim described accurately what were in the DMs and pictures. I summarized what we saw. DMs between Carol and Linda detailing their infidelity with multiple guys. Yeah, so one guy wasn't enough. Pictures of Linda and Carol at the pool party and on dates. How did Jim see this stuff? He explained that he came by last night and I showed him what Linda had on her laptop, second hidden user account. She asked if that's the laptop that I have with me. Yes. Angie asked who else I told about and what I found on Linda's laptop. I said Jim brought his wife Carol, but she didn't look at anything. She just sat there and cried while denying everything. Shocker. Angie said, so I told Carol about all the evidence we have about her infidelity and also everything we have about Linda's cheating with men other than Fred. And Carol knows where I found all the evidence. Linda's second Instagram account. Is that right? I was beginning to feel uncomfortable, and I answered, I guess. Angie asked me, after Carol left my house, how long do you think it took Carol to tell Linda that I found her hidden Instagram account? How long before Linda erased all the DMs describing Linda and Carol's infidelity? Angie was furious with me. Angie said, let's see if there's anything left on Linda's laptop. I got up, stood next to Angie, opened the laptop, and logged into Linda's second account, the one she opened using her maiden name. I opened Instagram and went to her DMs. All the DMs were gone. Angie looked at me waiting for my explanation. Yeah, I think your lawyer deserves an explanation, my man. Linda had erased all her DMs, but the picture file was still there. Well, of course she erased them all. She knows something's up. She's not that stupid. I opened that file and Angie looked through them. The pool party pictures show Linda and Carol completely nude. They show Linda walking around naked and then with a couple of guys rubbing suntan lotion on her. There are also pictures of Linda and Carol on dates. I said that's evidence of their infidelity. Okay, there you go. She said, here's what Linda and Carol's attorneys will say to a judge. The two wives went to a party, got drunk, and were persuaded to take off their bathing suits. Persuaded, huh? Yeah, other guys used the Jedi mind trick on them to take them off. They didn't take them off willingly at all. Linda was too drunk or embarrassed or whatever to stop the two guys from putting lotion on her. Nothing else happened. No SCX, so no adultery. They'll say they left the party as soon as they realized they were expected to have SCX. That's why there's so few pictures of the party, nothing adulterous so far. Again, this is what his attorney says that they'll say. What about the pictures at the bar? Both of them on dates. Linda asked who the men with Linda and Carol are. I said, I don't know who those guys with Carol are, but I'm pretty sure the man Linda is kissing is a guy named Billy. The other one is Fred. Angie asked, both coworkers, and I said yes. So Linda was out with Carol for some drinks with coworkers. She's kissing this Billy character in a picture and is sitting on his lap. But that's all she's doing. They'll say Linda was drunk and got carried away, but kissing is all that happened. Who gives a shit? That's cheating. The guys in the picture with Carol are just some guys who try to pick her up at the bar. Again, no proof of actual SCX, no adultery as legally defined. Yeah, please. She said a judge is not going to say Linda committed adultery because she was naked at a party or kissing some guy or was out with coworkers or for drinks. Well, then this so-called judge or judge that would do that is a fucking moron. And it's probably if it's a dude, probably being cheated on himself. They're just two drunk women new to the party and two drunk women behaving inappropriately at bars. The judge may tell them to get help for their drinking, but the pictures don't show they are having intercourse with anyone. As you continue, we still have the text between Linda and Fred that I found on Linda's iPad. Luckily, I have the iPad to Angie. I gave the iPad to Angie before Linda could erase those DMs. All the DMs between Linda and Fred are backed up and saved. Well, good for that. Angie then concluded if Linda and Carol were her clients without the DMs Linda deleted, Carol would have nothing to worry about. There's nothing that shows Carol was ever unfaithful. Just Jim and my claim that we're reading some incriminating DMs, which we are not able to produce. And Linda only has to worry about the confession she wrote for me about her and Fred and her DMs to Fred. We still have that, but all that gives us is Linda's one affair with Fred. Yeah, and I might add, Linda might cry to a judge saying that she was, she wrote that under duress or something like that. Angie said she can already hear Linda telling the judge how sorry she is for making that one mistake with Fred and how she'll never be unfaithful again. She'll do anything to save the marriage, blah, blah, blah. She loves me and wants a second chance. Yeah, Angie's right, and all that bullshit's coming from the Hobag Handbook. The judge may order marriage counseling for me and Linda while chastising me for not trying reconciliation. Yeah, imagine that. Man, if I was a lawyer and I got to be a judge, I'd be the most hated judge by women across America. I get my own show because I got to make a lot of money. I obviously have a very remorseful wife who loves me and made a mistake. There's still hope for our marriage. Yeah. Hope my butt. I asked, can't we just have Billy testify about his affair with Linda? Also, Linda said in the DMs that Billy's roommate saw Linda and Billy in bed together. Angie said, sure. If we can find Billy or his roommates in the 6 months or more it will take to get a hearing. And Billy will be testifying against his boss. Not a great career move, and news of an office affair might get them both fired. If Linda has no income, the judge may order me to pay her more in alimony. Ding, ding, ding. Even if Billy tells the truth, it's still his word against Linda's. Is a judge going to believe Billy over a poor, ashamed Linda who denies any affairs other than her one slip-up with Fred? Coin toss. I would say more it's like a coin toss with the same object on both sides because it's a typical judge. So Angie continued, same with the roommates. If we can find them, When it's time to see the judge, will they tell the truth? They'll probably simply claim they don't remember. Billy has had lots of women in his bed. How are they supposed to remember Linda? If they do tell the truth about Billy and Linda, will a judge believe them over Linda? Maybe, but there's no maybes if we had the DMs that describe Linda and Carol's serial cheating. That was the point of finding something more on Linda than what we have about her affair with Fred. Even the stupidest judge can't ignore those DMs. Angie said we'll still get the divorce on the basis of Linda's infidelity with Fred, but the judge can make the divorce last much longer than it should and make it much more painful. Imagine being ordered to spend months with Linda meeting with a marriage counselor who's blaming me for Linda's cheating, which will probably happen nowadays. I said I really did fuck up, didn't I? And Angie said if she were the judge, the pictures alone are more than enough to show both Linda and Carol are unfaithful. But Angie is not the judge and we have to prove infidelity. The pictures just show that we have foolish wives who push the boundaries of their marriage. Push the boundaries, my ass. Walking around butt naked at a party, that's beyond pushing the boundaries. Or making out with some dude. This is all the photo evidence, you know. They don't prove they ever crossed those boundaries into actual adultery. Oh yeah, well I consider that adultery. And in certain countries, in certain parts of the world, that would most certainly be considered adultery. Letting Carol and Linda know what we had was stupid. Angie said no more cowboy crap. I should ask Angie before I do anything that might affect my divorce. Well, what do I always tell you about listening to your goddamn attorney? And seeking counsel before you do anything. I mean, that's what you're paying her for. I asked, what do we do now? Angie said, what we do now is we recover Linda's DMs. So Angie picked up the phone and dialed an extension. She asked whoever answered to come to her office. A young woman came in the office who Angie introduced as her computer genius. She handed the laptop to her tech and told her to retrieve the DMs erased from Linda's Instagram account, the one open on the laptop. The tech knows the drill. Back up the DMs to the office cloud and put a copy of my file and email a copy to me. When she's finished, the laptop should look exactly like it does now. When Linda looks at her Instagram account, we want her to think she successfully hid the DMs from us. That we haven't touched anything, the girl left with Linda's laptop. Damn. So Angie smiled and said, I'm not the first dumb client she had. Just think before I do anything in the future. Angie smiled and asked how I'm holding up. Okay, I said. I'm thinking about asking Beth and Jim to be in a support group with me. Something to help the three of us get through our divorces. What did she think? She said that support groups are a great idea, especially if any one of us gets wobbly and starts thinking about taking the other spouse back. Don't you do it, man. Don't you dare do it, or I'm going to come down there and slap the shit out of you. For what she's heard about the Beth, she'll kick both our asses if we even think about reconciliation. Yeah, Beth the barbarian. Beth's an ass kicker. While we waited for her tech, I asked if we could talk about what she said about our marriage, infidelity, and living happily ever after. Sure, I said, Angie and Greg have been married for 11 years. They seem happily and still in love. If marriage is such a losing proposition, why are Angie and Greg still together? She thought for a while and said, very early on, she and Greg set boundaries, an actual sit-down discussing about boundaries. That is a good question, asking his female divorce attorney, why the hell did you get married knowing what you know? And there you go. A discussion, communication. Imagine that prospect nowadays. And setting boundaries. As I always say, set boundaries. If one of them wanted to be with someone else, they would just tell the other. No lying, no keeping the spouse around as a fallback in case things don't work out with the new love. Just complete honesty. If she wants to be with someone else, she'll tell Greg and they'll go from there. Here we go with the sirens. I can't escape it. And she expects Greg to do the same. She loves Greg and no one has come along she wants to trade him for. She's not dead. She's attracted to other men, but so far no one compares to Greg. Certainly no one she would even consider giving up her marriage for. And that's the choice she'll have to make. Some new guy or Greg. She won't be able to keep both. Angie and Greg both know that if one of them catches the other cheating, then that'll end their marriage. So far, neither has wanted to end the marriage, and they signed a prenup agreement that codified those boundaries. Their prenup rewards honesty but severely punishes infidelity. Okay. I gotta admit, I was wondering that too with your female divorce attorney, how they stay married. So the tech returned with the laptop and also Linda's iPad. Well, that was quick. Angie asked her if there was any problems. No. She asked the tech if Linda erased the DMs between Linda and Fred on her iPad, too. Yes. Did the tech reinstall the erased Instagram DMs on Linda's laptop? Yes. But the tech deleted them again after she copied them. So Linda's 2 separate Instagram accounts are still on the iPad and laptop, just with all the DMs still gone. Just as Linda left them, yes, Linda and Carol won't know what we recovered all their DMs. They'll think that they were able to delete everything for good. Yes, the tech added that the picture file is on the laptop's local hard drive, and Linda didn't erase that file. She probably couldn't figure out how to delete it remotely. Angie then asked the tech to leave Linda's iPad and laptop with Angie and thanked the tech. What a relief, I said. Angie asked me to check my email to see if I got the copy of Linda's DM. It is there. Angie told me to read them if I ever feel I've made a mistake for divorcing Linda and want to take her back. Good idea. I think that's important, guys. Because a lot of guys, understandably, don't want to go through the hell of this divorce, or they start thinking about the good times, or, So reading that evidence will keep you on track. Reading DMs about Linda's infidelity will strengthen my resolve. Linda told me to take Linda's laptop and iPad with me. She wants me to monitor Linda's social media apps. Angie says she doubts the wives will continue discussing their affairs, but they might discuss what their attorneys are telling them. We might learn something about negotiating positions, what they think about they can actually get from their husbands, and the divorce strategies. Just don't do anything without her say-so. That's right, dude. Listen to your fucking attorney. That's what you're paying her for. So she then thanked me for referring to Jim to her, and I asked her if she would give me a discount for my divorce since I recommended Jim hire her. Angie smiled and said she usually charges clients who are complete idiots double her usual fee. Don't push my luck. Discounts? Why would she give a discount when this attorney here, gets unlimited business? Right? That's like trying to go to a car dealership and the car dealer has sold so many cars that he doesn't have to really bust his tail trying to negotiate when he's made beyond his quota and all that. I went to work and thought more about the idea of asking Beth and Jim to join me in a support group. So I called Beth. I told her that she and I and Jim are all divorcing our spouses. It might be helpful for the 3 of us to get together on a regular basis to support each other. I think that's a very good idea, amigo. Beth asked about Jim, and I told her that he's the husband of Linda's friend Carol. Carol's also a serial cheater. Jim's a good guy. She'll like him. She asked why I thought we needed to get together to talk about our divorces. I said for advice, a sympathetic ear, moral support, whatever. We're all going through the same thing, and I said the 3 of us can meet at my place. I'll get Carrie out, and we can see if it's something that we want to continue to do. If she doesn't find the support group helpful, she can drop out. No hard feelings, and she said she's in. Something tells me our guy here is going to be banging Beth pretty soon. Call me crazy, but I foresee that in the future. Let's just see. So I had the same conversation with Jim, and he said he's willing, but was very curious about Beth. Okay, somebody's going to be banging Beth eventually. He had his doubts that she'll be helpful discussing female cheaters. Would she sympathize with his and my wives? No. Tell us to give our wives a second chance. I told Jim that he should have seen Linda after Beth caught Linda with Fred at the motel. I do not think Beth has much sympathy for cheaters, women, or men. So the 3 of us met for the first time that Thursday evening. Jim arrived first, and then Beth. Beth could not take her eyes off Jim. Here we go. Jim could not take his eyes off Beth. Everything Jim said, Beth found fascinating. Okay, I don't think Jim is that interesting. No offense, Jim. Eventually, everything Beth said, Jim found equally captivating. Please, he was just checking out her rack. During dinner, we told each other our backstories and why we're divorcing our spouses. Jim said he felt really badly for Beth with all she's been through. Beth commiserated with poor Jim. After dinner, we sat in the living room, and I told them that I had a tentative agenda for us to talk about. But is there anything they'd like to start with? Beth said we continue with these meetings. We should meet at her place. She loves to cook, and she has 2 kids at home, so it's more convenient for her at her house. That led to a discussion of Jim's son and Beth's daughter and son. It turns out that Jim's son and Beth's daughter are about the same age, both 8 years old. Maybe a play date, or at our next meeting, Jim can bring his son so their children can meet. They agreed that was a good idea. They were both sure the children would become friends. And I think Beth is planning something other than just playtime with the kids. This wasn't working. I said that we were here to discuss our divorces, not play dates. I said, here's what I think we should talk about. First, do we have what we need from each other in terms of evidence for our divorces? Jim said Angie told him the DMs between Linda and Carol are more than enough to prove Carol's long-term infidelity with multiple partners. Custody, though, will be a problem. Jim wants custody of his boy. Beth said her attorney is getting Linda's confession on her affair with Fred and a copy of Linda and Fred's DMs. Also the pictures of Linda and Fred on dates. I told Beth that Angie's getting that together. So we should all be good to go. Beth said getting custody should not be a big problem for her. Mothers always get custody, and no one will trust Fred to care for their dog, let alone children. Well, we shall see, but the odds are pretty much in her favor. Is anyone hearing from their spouses? Jim said he didn't hear from Carol for a couple days. She called him, but he's not talking to her. She left a message telling him she misses him and wants to talk. Yeah, I'm sure. Has he calmed down? Can she come home and so she can explain? She repeated that I fabricated the DMs to get back at her for telling Linda to dump a rotten cheater like me. The DMs were so obviously fake that Linda told her Instagram itself deleted them. All the pictures of Carol he saw are also fake. I wrecked my marriage, so out of spite, I wanted to wreck Jim's and Carol's too. And man, she's something, huh? Jim said the good news was that she didn't ask about seeing their son. Until she does, there's no need to talk to her. I asked if he's gotten an STD test and a paternity test. The STD test showed he was clean. Well, thank God for that. He said he was really sweating getting those results. It's a miracle Carol didn't give him multiple STDs. He did get a home paternity test for his son and his son, but the lab reported the test was contaminated, so no result. He and his son had another one done at the lab, and he's waiting to hear about the second test. Oh my God. Waiting for that would be excruciating. His son looks just like Jim, so he's not worried. He asked if I had an STD test. I told him I did, and I'm in the clear. Another miracle. Well, again, thank God for that. So guys, this is a very long story, and I'm going to wrap up this part here, part 5. Stop screaming at me. But I promise you that in 2 hours from now, approximately, I will continue on part 6. And guess what? There's going to be a part 7. So you have an action-packed day today of 3 episodes from this drama fest that will keep you guys all busy. But that way you can watch a show, go back to work, because not a lot of you guys are at work, and I want you obviously to do your jobs, not get fired, or interrupt your gym workouts. And we'll continue on this saga later on. So I will see you later on this afternoon.